Hello. I just wanted to talk about my experience with ayahuasca the last weekend, Friday and Saturday, with a group called Peaceful Mountain Way. And I'd heard about ayahuasca like many people had through documentaries and podcasts and different musicians that I'm a fan of that had used it. And I thought that sounds really interesting, but I'm probably not going to be hopping a plane to the jungle of Peru or Brazil anytime soon, so maybe someday. I just pushed it out of my mind. But then I figured out that there are two places legally in Kentucky that you can do it. So I said, that's actually attainable. And there were two groups. The first one I read about was the one that they do the Vice show about. And there were just things about that I didn't resonate with and I wasn't interested in. I didn't want to be on a TV show. So I read about Peaceful Mountain Way, and that seemed a little bit more down to earth and more spiritually oriented. So I said, okay, I'll sign up with them and I will prepare. And a lot of people, when making such a big decision to do this, like to do research, to know what they're getting into. And ironically, one of the most important things that you hear in everyone's reviews is they say, don't have any expectations, which is sort of hard to do because everyone gives you the details and specifics of their experience. And a lot of people overlap and have the same kind of experiences, like they have flashbacks to childhood, or they meet the Mother Eye Spirit or see similar visions. So I thought these are all possibilities, but I'm still going to keep an open mind. So they do outline a diet. You know, there are practical things like certain medications you should not be taking because it messes with the MAOI inhibitors that allow the chemicals to go into your brain. And if you have like heart problems, it's probably not good for you to do. And on a spiritual level, and a gut level, because people do get sick, is a diet. They outline a diet. It was easy for me because it's basically a vegetarian diet, no alcohol. I don't really like to drink that much anyway. And no dairy. That was kind of hard. I was thinking about pizza pretty hard going into the month without it, but it was easy for me to do the diet. And, you know, a lot of people say how terrible ayahuasca tastes. So I figured, well, the last 2 days leading into it, I figure if it's going to make myself drink something that terrible, I'll make myself eat raw carrots and eat raw kale leaves off the vine, you know, on the way there, and just to be really pure in diet. So I did it. And the day came, I finally drove down there. And you meet the group, and there's these nice mediators, 3 of them. And, you know, they have backgrounds in psychology and metaphysics, and they make you feel at ease. And we do a group setting and circle, and everyone talks about why they're here and what their objectives are. And it's people from all backgrounds of life, all ethnicities, all kinds of different goals and problems. You know, some people are addicted. Some people want to heal grieving for loved ones. Some people are from car accidents. Some people just want to know more of the truth. And you get to know these people, and they kind of become like your little new family by the end of it. So we do our group meeting, and we talk and get to know each other. And the time comes for to pour the brew and drink it down. And I start getting nervous, you know, and I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Should I even have done this? I'm kind of dreading it. And they pour it out and say, well, here we go. Let's all just do it. We're in this together. So we drink it down. It was kind of nasty, but it wasn't that bad as people made it out to be. I'm a person who drinks like kombucha and wheatgrass and willow bark anyway, so I imagine if you drink Pepsi and Mountain Dew all the time, it would be kind of shocking, but for me, it wasn't that bad. So drink it. You know, we're all positioned in the room with our mats, and I'm waiting, and one thing I had read was some people don't feel anything the first time, so I said, that's a possibility. Hope that doesn't happen, but waiting 30 minutes, nothing happened. 45 minutes or so, the room starts getting kind of funny, starting to see a little bit of patterns and grids on the wall. And I swear, man, there's this leather book bag sitting next to me, and this face of a Native American elder perfectly formed on it. I thought, I know what hallucinations are like, but man, that's a perfect face. It's got cheekbones, you know, it's indentions, nose, eyes, eyebrows, feather headdress. Thinking, okay, well, something's going on here, and the room starts to turn into this swirling thing of colors and lights, and I was okay, here we go. And I start closing my eyes, and I'm having visions like of Mayan high priests throughout history with their garb on, animals and tongues sticking out at me like, And to be honest, it was sensory overload. And let's be honest, you do get sick, physically sick. If you don't like sickness, this is not for you, because you will, like when you stay home from school and you got to throw up, it's like that. But you got to know that it's temporary and it will pass and it's meant to happen. But me, the room vibes were so intense. There's a symphony of sounds, man. People are crying, people are dancing, people are laughing, drums, Native American flute, all this is just this cacophony going on at once. And to me, going back in my history, I'd been a manager, and I sort of involuntarily learned, like, and I was in kind of a bad part of town, and I knew things did get out of hand sometimes there, and anything that went down, it was my responsibility to immediately take a hold of the situation and assess what needs to be done. So even though I was seeing these patterns and having this experience, I made myself be sober. And then looking back, it was a silly thing to do. They tell you to focus inward on your journey, but I wanted to be a referee in case anything got out of hand, because everyone was so far out of their comfort zone. I hope no one freaks out. I'm going to be the sober one. There were already 3 mediators there. I didn't need to think that, but it kind of like I made myself sober even though I wasn't. And even then, I think that lessened my experience, but I still had some pretty fascinating insights. Like, some voice was telling me to go to the doctor and get a checkup. I haven't been in many years. And also I have sort of a complicated thought process sometimes. I'd done psychedelics in the past when I have these thoughts that go way out and on a tangent sometimes, and sometimes that works in your favor and sometimes it doesn't. And I know my psychedelic experiences allowed those to go even farther, but what about this and this and this and this and this and that? I was thinking, okay, I got to be sure to try to get that under control. But ayahuasca was actually different in that respect. Like, it pulled me back, and it was like, no. Like, you don't have to go, your mind doesn't have to go out there like this. There's this steady flow, and it's in the middle, and you could just stay there. And there's something more fundamental and grounded and everlasting there, like the roots of a tree. It's more simple, but it's more fundamental. And these boundaries, you never had to go out of these boundaries to make a point about anything in the first place. Like plants and animals, they don't have to express themselves or make these twisted lines of thought to exist and know what to do in their lives. They're just instinct creatures, you know? And I was like, wow, that's interesting. Like, I could have made myself go outside of it, but it didn't feel right. It felt better just to be in this more simplistic place. And I am a composer and a musician, so I was hearing these sort of kind of new melodies. I mean, I understand how melody and music theory works, but it was just like in a more universally logical way. And I felt like the electricity in my brain coursing with the melody, like, and it felt like it was coursing into parts of my brain I don't use as much. Like, they say we only use 10% of our brain. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Like, if I could use all my brain, what kind of music would I be writing? Or what kind of music could we hear? So, that came down, and it was intense. I had those insights, but it was a lot of sensory overload. So much so that I woke up the next day, and I did wake up feeling good and having these insights and increased depth perception and clarity. And I thought, man, that was so intense, and I got a headache. I don't know if I can do the second night, because it'll just kill me if I still have a headache, and that was so intense. I went into town and walked around and thought about it and said, man, I just need to face it. Or whatever, I paid and I'm here, I just should do it. So with a little bit of dread, I went back, not knowing what to expect the second night. I'm glad I did, So we do the ritual again. We go into the second night, ready to drink again. First day, they say purging is part of it. I thought, I have a pretty strong mind. I'll just tell myself I don't want to throw up. And I didn't. But they say that's good. You're supposed to. You purge out your negative emotions at the same time. So you get the sickness. It's not comfortable at all, but you know it's going to pass. And I said, I'm just going to make myself go there. So I put my fingers in my throat and blah, 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 blah. And that did the trick, man. 10 to 15 minutes after I made myself do that, I blasted off into a completely different dimension. My body started surging and coursing with energy. I'm like, oh God, here we go. I know I'm about to go somewhere and there's no turning back, and I just need to put the lap bar down on the roller coaster and just ride. And don't hurt me, I'm just here for the ride, and I come in love and peace and whatever. And I'm seeing everything on the molecular level, like the building blocks of reality. And I'm in this alternate space, and it's like the ultimate reality. Maybe it's not the ultimate because we don't know how many layers of reality there are, but let's just say it's way expanded from what we normally know. And it's like this rare window where you can grasp the fundamentals of reality and weigh everything in your life that doesn't fit into that. Like anything in your life that doesn't fit into like fundamental reality, it's like it has no place, and you just want to learn more about what fundamental reality is and learn from it and be it and everything. So I'm just this amazing display, like I said, the molecular level of everything. And normally we see like this, and I'm seeing this panorama going way out into here. And in that time, I did have a conversation, I guess maybe what we would call Mother Aya or the spirit of Mother Earth or whatever. It's like a woman's face came out, and for whatever reason, I just said, "Are you angry?" And it goes like nods, like, "Yeah, I am." I'm like, "Oh no, why?" And then it did this display, like it showed the woman's face, and she's like making these contorted faces, like ugly, and these faces like exhaustion. And I'm like, "What's that about?" And it was telling me like, people focus so much on the outward things, and those are only meant to decay, and they're not always beautiful, and they get ugly and they die. And I said, "Well, what should we do then?" And right when that said that body or the woman split in two, like disintegrated into two, and there was just this column of light in the middle, like a soul. And it was saying like, that's what people should be focusing on, not this body that's meant to decay, physical things, like this everlasting spirit. And I guess she's saying she's angry because people in this generation can't even get into that or know what it is. They don't even know it's there. They don't even care to know about it. They're focused on all these outward things. And I'm just in this, like I said, alternate dimension, watching this display unfold and understanding what this message is that she's telling me. I'm like, man, this is profound. I'm just like smiling and looking up like I'm just a child here on this earth, and there's so much I don't know about, and I just want to be a good person and live in balance with nature, and thank you for everything. And I'm just like, and my body is just pulsating with energy. I'm like, okay, let me just ride this out. So then I'm coming back down, and it's not as heavy as it was then, but still in the heightened awareness state. So I figured I'll take this opportunity to like do some yoga because it just feels right and get in tune with my bodily awareness. And so I started stretching and feeling and slowly moving each joint to feel what it feels like, and moving these parts I don't normally think to move. And I noticed some people started like following suit after I started that, so I felt good that I could start kind of a positive thing in the room. And it goes on, and we come back down, and we have our nightly conversation where we all talk about our experience. So we've been through this journey together. We watch each other go to the bathroom and throw up and cry and laugh, so we feel comfortable with each other. And they created a space where we could talk about these deeper aspects of ourselves that you don't normally get to express to people in everyday life when you're hurried and you got to get to work or you got to take care of this or that. So we're just, getting all this out. And then the next day, well, let me go back in the night conversation. There are people who had done it 2 or 3 times before, and they had said there are not just tonight, but months after, there are benefits that go on. Like one person said that their art had taken on a new dimensionality, and they saw things in their art that was not there before. Their art improved and took on a new dimension. Another lady said she was more aware of plant life and she didn't want to step on plants anymore. Sting, the musician, said something similar. He said he realized that plants were his brother, and that's what he got deep into the rainforest efforts. Another girl said, she used to have bad road rage, and after that she just felt so calm and patient. Like, sure, if you want to cut in front of me, go ahead. And I was having those same things. Like I went into town and walked around, and just a physical effect, depth perception and my clarity and my perception of color was greatly enhanced. But at the same time, I just felt so much more patient and loving for people. I still feel that. And I hope that this effect goes on. Like, you have these habits of, when you get into an inconvenient situation and you want to be judgmental or impatient or angry or whatever, like, I could see that there were some of those, like road rage or something, where you would go, and I could feel it coming up, but it's like, I just stopped, and I was like, it'll feel like I'm poisoning my system if I even let this go through. So it's not even worth it. I just felt so patient and understanding of people, and I hope this continues to go on. And, this is only a day after my weekend experience, so maybe there's more to come, but maybe I'll do another video if that happens. But overall, I wouldn't recommend this to everyone. Let's just be honest. You do get physically sick. It is very uncomfortable. It's a very alien experience. It's very strange being in a room with 12 people who are kind of like going through the motions. If you don't like being sick, you won't like it. If you don't feel like you're called to it, it's probably not meant for you right now. But if you're willing to have some discipline about the diet, preparation, and that's how you get the most. I think some people on the journey didn't get as much out of it. Maybe they didn't prepare enough, but if you do prepare, you will get a better experience. And, if you're ready to learn more about yourself or just have something new in your life and you're ready to do the work and prepare, I would recommend it to everyone. So I guess that about sums it up. Thanks for listening.